recap. Today we are going to recap a movie titled Rule Number 1, released in the year 2018, directed by Lindsay F. Efejiku. This movie is about two best friends, Ogenetega and Stephanie. They actually have been best friends since they were 5. And from the movie, we understand they have not had an actual fight over the years. They also have best friend rules that guard them. The movie starts with a scene where Tega was working on her laptop while Stephanie went to the fridge and came back with a bowl of yogurt. Tega tried letting her know the yogurt was hers, but Stephanie asked if she should be reminded of the rule number 77, which says if it's in the fridge, it's fair game. The scene ended while Tega tries to get back her yogurt. Next, Tega is seen startled out of bed by the knock at the door. Stephanie got to the door, greeting the person with the title, Mrs. Banke, of which the lady corrected her that it was Miss, for there was no man or children seen coming out from her house. Miss Banke inquired if she saw well last night about a car driving in late and a man lurking in the shadows. And Stephanie assured Miss Banke that it wasn't that late. It was just 11 p.m. and that it was a friend that dropped her off. That there was no lurking. Miss Banke said it looked like it was about 3 a.m. as at the time. Well, she left saying she just called in to check on them. While back in the house, Tega confirmed that Stephanie just lied to Miss Banke as the actual time she came back was 3 a.m. Stephanie offered to make breakfast for Tega if she will get up, take a bath, and brush her teeth. Next, we could see Stephanie in a series of affairs with men on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. She came back home to meet Tega, who is always on her laptop. Tega demands for something which Stephanie pretends she don't get. Tega reminds her of rule number 55. If you go on a date, you must come back with a takeaway. Stephanie tried denying it's a date she went to, but later brings out a takeaway pack and hands it over to her. Stephanie asked when Tega was going to go on a date herself, so she could always bring home a takeaway and stop being always on the computer day and night. She replied that there's no time, more like no boy to go out with, so for now she will sit and work. Stephanie encourages her to go out and meet real people, interact, and shouldn't try online dating. Stephanie gets up to leave. Tega inquires to know where she's headed. To the kitchen, she said. Tega gets up, runs ahead of her such that Stephanie got scared, thinking the kitchen was on fire. Tega got to the fridge and took out her bowl of yogurt to avoid what happened the other day. Only then did Stephanie understood the reason for Tega's race to the kitchen. She picks up a spoon and runs towards Tega, begging her to please share her yogurt. Stephanie sits in an eatery, licking ice cream. T, as she calls him, walks in and sees her, greets her, and asks if she was waiting for someone, of which she replied in the affirmative, that she was actually waiting for her roommate to come join her, of which she was chatting with at the moment. The message came in, and after reading it, she announced to him that she had just been stood up. T offered he take her home for a change of space and location. At T's home, Stephanie admires the place, but he replies arrogantly that he knows. T calls for red wine via the telecom as that was what Stephanie asked for. Stella, T's housekeeper, walked in with the wine, greets both but wouldn't wait for their response before leaving. Stephanie pointed out that she was cold and doesn't seem to like her. T says, "Can we stop talking about Stella right now?" He demanded to know why she didn't drop her number the last time they met, but she says it was a one-night stand, and so she didn't want to turn it into something that it's not, like clinging, trying to make them a thing, and all that drama she was avoiding. He tried kissing her. She asked what he was doing, but then allowed him anyway. They are off bed in the following scene. She was dressing up while he was begging her not to go, but to stay over. She says she have work to do, that she usually don't sleep over, but she made this exceptional. He offers to pay her for it. She fled up, asking why he would be offering to pay her money. Does she look like a prostitute to him? Can't a woman just have sex for the love of it? She asked. He apologizes and says he is confused what kind of girl she is. He offers to drop her off. She says her cab is downstairs. She leaves, dropping her card behind. Tega is seen mopping the floor and complains the place is so hot. She realized the AC wasn't working again and needs to be fixed. She went to the jar of money and finds out that the money was gone. of which she knows Stephanie was behind it. She decides to fix the fan. While on it, Stephanie walks in, asks why she was fixing the fan. What happened to the AC? Tega ignores her. She kept pushing to know what could be the reason. Tega looks upset and ignores her. Well, Tega finally spoke. Where is the jam money? Oh, that. Stephanie said she used it for a cap fare and she was planning to replace it, but forgot. Tega explains how that money was for the house. It was needed to fix the spoiled AC since it's gone, hence the repairing of the fan. Stephanie apologizes a great deal and reminds Tega of the rule number 5, which says we can't stay mad at each other. She finally comes around as Stephanie tries tickling her. Both friends are seen walking on the street. When Stephanie saw Dan, a friend, stops to talk to him by his car. Tega says she can feel she's about to be abandoned on the road. Stephanie, of course, didn't disappoint. She begged Tega to allow her follow him, asked if she would like to meet him, but she declined, gave her blessings, and Stephanie left with him. Tega proceeds to the suya stand, where she made an order. While there, T showed up at the same stand to get suya. He eats the suya kept for Tega. Tega reacted and he offered to pay for it. She declined. He introduces himself as Tamuno and she as Tega. She leaves with her ordered suya. He runs after her and offered to drop her home. She said she preferred to walk. He offered to walk her home. She accepted halfway home. While on the walk, she asked him what he does for a living. He said he worked in an oil sector, while she said she is a computer engineer. He said it sounded more like a man's job. She let him know it's the 21st century, where women can do anything they set their minds to do, especially much more than the men. He accepts, of course, and said most women he knew won't want to dirty their hands, but here she is, cool with it. She thanked him for walking her halfway home, and he thanked her for letting him do so. He begged for one more thing, which she hoped it wasn't gonna be a kiss. Of course not. Why would I ask for a kiss? He said. It turned out to be her phone number he begged for, which she tried to refuse. But he tried to coin the appeal into a song and created a scene, so Tega gave in and they exchanged numbers. They started chatting each other. He called and they talked about random things, of how close they lived to each other, about their work, where they are from, and all through the night they chatted and spoke. Stephanie walks in. Tega tries to scare her, of which she did. Tamuna asks what that was. She replied that it's just her friend that is coming in at 6 a.m. This reminds Tamuna that he has a meeting in the next 2 hours. She seems not much bothered as he is because she works for herself and so she will be going to sleep. So she said. Stephanie looks surprised that she was really talking to a real guy, not a computer automated voice, as she called it. She tries to get her gist her about it, but she won't as she heads for the bed. Next, Tega is seen chatting with Tamuno on phone. Stephanie watches her in amazement, then clears her throat to announce her presence. She still asks for what's going on. Tega said there was actually nothing serious between them for now, so there is no gist. She only mentioned that she met him at the suya joint where she dumped her yesterday. Stephanie gets up saying she's hungry, asking what Tega cooked. She replies jollof rice. Nigerian or Ghana jollof? She replied Nigerian jollof. As she goes in, Tega calls her back, drawing her attention to the song on the radio. Our jam, she called it. Stephanie runs back and they both danced happily to it. In the next scene, Stephanie is seen with T on the sofa, watching movie. Stephanie looks unconcerned. The later settled on playing PS, which T was amazed at the fact that Stephanie can really play it. Tega and Tamuno are next seen having a nice time bonding together at a park. Stephanie is alighted home from a car. She meets Miss Banker at the entrance. She again greets her with the title Mrs. Banker, of which the lady corrected again that it is Miss. She goes ahead to advise Stephanie that the way men are alighting her off every day, people in the complex are beginning to gossip that she's a prostitute. Stephanie stops her flow and tells her that those vehicles that bring her home are taxis. She went ahead to explain that taxis of nowadays are sophisticated, such as this, with AC inside it. With that explanation, she thanks her and walks away. It's night and Tega and Tamuno are seen sitting by the edge of the bridge, taking in the city's view. They talk about his job. She wishes she could stare all night at the view. He says they could actually do that, but she rather takes a glance at her wristwatch and says she will be leaving. Both friends are seen watching movie at their living room when Tega's phone rang. She speaks with Terminal on the phone, who asks her out for a date. He offers to come pick her up, but she declined that she will come by herself. Stephanie looks more excited about her friend going on a date. She inquires why she declined him picking her up. Tega reminds her of rule number 90 that says no guys in the house until it's serious. Stephanie exclaims that the fairy godmother in her is activated as she is going to transform Tega for this special date. She's seen working hard in fixing Tega up. Just at it, Tega's phone rang, of which it was work calling. She accepts to take the work, which Stephanie wasn't happy about. She tries to persuade her to cancel this work appointment, for all her magic on her will not go to waste. Tega assures her that she will sort it out. Next, Tega is seen in an office. She picks up her ringing phone to speak to Tamino, who offered to bring dinner to her if she could just text him the address, of which she happily did. He brings her pizza. They sat on the floor while she ate. He makes a kissing advancement towards her, but quickly got hold of himself. At T's house, Stephanie is lying on the couch with her legs on T's thighs. Stella, T's housekeeper, startled Stephanie as she speaks to T, saying she is leaving for the market. Will he need anything? She asked. Stephanie begs her to stop creeping around, but Stella ignores her and leaves. T is busy on his phone as he shuts up Tega, inviting her to the movies. Next scene is followed by Stephanie waking up in bed with T. She needs to go, but T asks her to stay for a dinner date. She mentions she don't have anything to wear for the date. He says that's no problem. Stephanie is seen in T's kitchen preparing something and dancing to her hummings. Stella walks in and stands at the door unnoticed. T walks in also, tells Stephanie that she is in someone else's territory. Stella's territory, precisely. That's why she's standing there to watch guard. Stephanie apologizes and said she only wanted to make breakfast for the big-headed T. Next, she brings the breakfast of 2 plates to the dining table. While they were on it, T goes to get the dough, comes back with a bag saying it's everything she needed for the dinner date. Stephanie is super excited, most especially about the brand. They are now having their dinner and she's really enjoying herself, so she said. Up next, Tega and T are watching a movie. He makes an advance at her. As he gets closer, she takes him by surprise when she finally says, "Yes, you can kiss me." He jumps at the offer. She breaks the bond to catch her breath. He jumps on it again and tries to advance even further. She breaks away again and said she haven't done it before, that she is still a virgin. Samona takes it in, though shockingly. She apologizes to him as it was obvious his hormones were up. Tega is seen lost in thought at their living room. Stephanie wants to know what's on her thoughts. She hesitates, but Steph reminds her of rule number 2, which says we don't keep secrets from each other. Tega points out that frankly, those rules benefit Stephanie alone. Tega later mentioned that she wanted to know more about sex. Stephanie hopes the guy Tega have been chatting with doesn't make her do what she doesn't want to do. Tega says no, she have been browsing about sex online, but she isn't getting what she wanted. Stephanie says she really needs to be upset with her right now. That's why would she be leaving a deaconess of the topic like her in the house and be seeking knowledge online. She tells her to grab a pen and paper as she will be schooling her on the most important topic of life, of which she actually did. T is sitting in an eatery taking yogurt, apparently waiting for someone. Stephanie walks in and noted that he looks addicted to yogurt nowadays and also looks worried about something. He reads a message that just came in to his phone from Tega that reads, "She feels so bad, she's sorry, and please, he shouldn't be upset." He tells Stephanie that it's a situation where one keeps apologizing for something that isn't a big deal, that he isn't mad about, but eventually they make it a big deal because they won't stop apologizing. She advised him to slow down and tell this person to stop apologizing, get away from him before he bites their head off. He thanked her. She asked him to come show how thankful he is by buying for her some yogurt. As they were about to get to the counter, he excuses himself to send a message to Tega that reads, "You have nothing to apologize for. I care about you a lot and I'm willing to wait." It's night and Tega initiates a chat with Tamuno while lying on bed, apologizing for the other day. She adds that she wants to come right away if he doesn't mind. He doesn't mind, but warns her that it's late and it looks like it will rain. She insists. While on her way out, she bumps into Miss Banker, who asks whether she spread clothes outside she wants to pick up. No, she said, I'm rather going out. Miss Banker warned that the rain is going to be very heavy. She should wait till tomorrow to go to wherever she wanted to, so that she won't catch cold, catarrh, typhoid, or whatever. Tega thanks her for her consent, and she said she shouldn't worry about her. She'll be fine. Tamina opens the door for her, and she's all drenched with rain. She jumps on him and starts kissing him. He tries to break out and asks if she really is ready for it. She answers desperately that she wants him. He asks at least for her to change up and have a hot tea, that he wants the moment to be special for her. But she doesn't care, or should I say, was impatient. And then it happened. It's morning and she's up before him. She looks admiringly at him. She then decides to take a photo of him. He wakes up and inquired if she regretted the act. She says no. It looks like a relief to him, saying he was scared that in the morning she will sound regretful. He wants to initiate another round, but she wants to go meet her best friend, for she will be sick worried. Back home, Stephanie paces around. Tega walked in, trying to explain as Stephanie rants about her whereabouts and her not picking calls. But she stops halfway as she noticed something. Is that a guy's shirt you are wearing? Tega was like, that's what I have been trying to tell you. Stephanie happily hugged her, ushers her to sit down and tell her all about it. While she sat and was trying to start the gist, Stephanie said she also have something to tell her too. Tega went first, saying she is in love. Wow, they were both happy. Tega asked Steph what she wanted to tell her too. Well, it's almost the same thing too. Someone finally stole her heart and she thinks she's in love. So she said, his name is T and I would like you to meet him. Tega asked if she has his picture, but Steph said no. Tega said she have a picture of her own man she took while he was asleep. Stephanie says it looks like the same guy he is talking about, but doubts that it might be the angle the photo was taken. To be sure, they had to check the phone numbers of their guys. It happens to be the same phone number. Oh no, this is not happening. We are dating the same guy. Stephanie said it was horrible. How will he date her and still date Tega? Tega sees it as an insult from Steph. What do you mean by that? She asks. So I'm not good enough for him to date, but you are? The two girls get into a fight as Tega calls Steph a slut. Steph goes in, brings out Tega's mug and breaks it. They stops the fight to catch their breath while exchanging words. Tega said she knows her own dad, but as for Steph, have she met her father before? She realizes late after she made the statement, for it was a soft spot for Steph. It angered Steph, so Tega started begging her. The latter agreed that Tega invites Tamuna over, of which she did, over the phone, sending him her address. He shows up, but Steph was the one that answered the door. He looks surprised and says he thinks he is at the wrong apartment. Just then, Tega shows up and says, no, you are in the right apartment, and uses a frying pan on him. He wakes up seeing himself tied on a chair. He said they could talk about this over a bottle of red wine and a cup of yogurt. He receives another slam of the frying pan and wakes up from another blackout. He denies he didn't know they were friends. Then there was a knock at the door. Steph went to get it. Lo, it was Miss Banky. She said she heard loud noises and wants to know if everything was okay. She answers yes, that the sound she heard was from the TV. Stephanie closes the door, leaving her unconvinced. Steph comes in and tells Tega that it's the woman next door who won't mind her business. Then another knock at the door came. Steph went again while Tamuna tries to talk to Tega that they had a connection, but Tega says she doesn't feel it. Steph runs right back, announcing the presence of some security guys at the door. They panic and try to agree on what to do. Tamuna offers to help if they release him, but they said, shut up. They decide to shut him up by gagging him. At the door, the security men offered to check in as strange noises were reported to come out of their apartment. They saw the messy living room, of which Steph and Tega explained was as a result of trying to kill a rat. They further advanced towards the rooms when Steph stopped them, and they eventually left. Back to the room, he is ungagged, pleads for them to move past this. But how? Steph have an idea how. She reaches for her makeup bag, uses it on his face, and takes photos of him for his 7K Instagram followers to see who he truly is. He begged her to stop it, for his mother was also on Instagram. It gets Stephanie laughing harder. Steph leaves to get something to eat, but Tega says she will pass. Tega is seen seated quietly all the while. Tamuno tries to explain to Tega that Steph was kinda hot at the time. Sexy, classy, attractive. That got him a little bit carried away. But when Tega, came along, she was confident, annoying, stubborn, and he loved all of that. He swore he was going to tell her about it that night she came over. He professes love to her. She says she built walls around her over the years to protect her from men like him. And then she let him into it, thinking he was the one. And then he broke it, as it turned out to be nobody's one. She said she loved him, and foolishly, she still does. She wishes she can be able to inflict exact pain she feels right now on him, but she can't, and so she forgives him. With that, she left the room. It's morning. Both girls are seen lying on bed. It's obvious Tega hasn't been sleeping. "Why are you up so early?" asks Steph. Tega says it's 9 a.m. It's not early. Tega pleads Steph to let him go, that he has suffered a lot. She hesitates at first, but later gives in. Without a word, they released him, gave him his clothes, and allowed him wander out with just his boxers and singlets. The duo burst into laughter. It was yogurt moment, as they are seen eating yogurt from the symbol while sitting on the floor. Tega apologizes for earlier. They hug each other. They acknowledges that there is just one rule that makes more sense than every other rule. Rule number 1, that says, ice cream solves everything. Steph says, but we are no more 5. So it's actually yogurt solves everything. That ended the movie. Thank you so much for following to the end. I'd like you to like, share, and also subscribe. If there's any movie you would like us to recap, please comment the title of the movie in the comment section, and we'll do just that for you. Bye.